Now England will be without Kalvin Phillips for their World Cup qualifiers against Andorra and Hungary. Rob Dorset is at St George's Park, where England are training right now. And Rob, I owe you £3 because I said it'd be raining. You're in bright sunshine. That's why I don't do Isabel Lang's job. Let's talk football, though. How much of a blow to Southgate not having Phillips?
Yeah, big blow. Although I think the England manager's been aware for the last 24 hours or so that it was looking doubtful. More on Kalvin Phillips in a moment because the players are right next to us, so we've got to move across and have a quick look at them, haven't we? 20 of them out there, and that's the important bit of news I need to bring you right now, Mike, is that not all of the squad of 24 are out there training as I speak to you right now in the sunshine at St George's Park. Bukayo Saka, Luke Shaw, Declan Rice and Ollie Watkins are all in the gym carrying out their own personal training programme, so they're not out with the rest of the group. That's not a huge concern. I'm told there's no real concern over them. It's always part of the plan. And bear in mind, this is England's first training session since they got together, because they arrived a day later than usual, an extra day off that Gareth Southgate gave them. But yeah, missing Kalvin Phillips is a big blow, and if we pan around to the left, you can see Gareth Southgate casting his beady eye over his new recruits, because Phillips has been a key part of this England squad for some time now. Misses out with what I understand is a calf strain, and it sounds like he had a say in how it was feeling when he was assessed by the Leeds medics yesterday, but he didn't have enough confidence in it. And he's a big miss because he played in every single one of the 7 matches in the Euros finals in the summer for England, and he's tricky to replace, isn't he, because of that role that he plays, holding midfield but also somebody who moves forward. The man that Gareth Southgate's gone for is James Ward-Prowse, who's just to the right of us here, right in front of us actually. You can probably hear what I'm saying about him. So I've got back to us, and some week for him, isn't it, because he scored that penalty and then was sent off for Southampton against Chelsea on Saturday, so he's going to be suspended for 3 matches, can't play for Southampton, but he's got his chance again with England to add to the 8 caps that he's already got. He's actually told some of the local press in Southampton that he's had a bit of a problem all season with a stomach problem and illness. He had a knee injury in pre-season, so he, by his own admission, isn't at 100%. But here he is as part of the England squad with a big chance, and it was brilliant for him, a brilliant season last season in 2020, so he deserves this place back in the England squad. And I know how disappointed he was to miss out on the squad for Euro 2020, having come so close. Gareth Southgate said he was very close to making that squad. So some decisions to be made for Gareth Southgate in midfield, and when it comes to the team selection for the match on Saturday night, who replaces Kalvin Phillips, it's going to be a key decision that he makes.
Certainly will. So, Ward-Prowse back, and there have also been some other significant recalls. Tell us more.
Yeah, Tammy Abraham, right to the far right of where we're standing now, look, back on this St George's Park training pitch for the first time in a good while, and thoroughly deserved as well. You have to say he is absolutely flourishing under Jose Mourinho at Roma. That big money move from Chelsea, where by his own admission his career was stuttering just a little bit, wasn't getting many run-outs under Thomas Tuchel, but he had that £34 million move from Chelsea in the summer, and he's now the main man there at Roma, and boy has he taken advantage of it. He's really relishing that responsibility of being Roma's number 9, you have to say. 4 goals in 10 games for Roma already, 2 assists, he's hit the post 6 times as well. That shows you he's getting in the right areas all the time, and now his role is to try and push his way back into this England side. He hasn't featured for England since a substitute appearance 11 months ago. That was in the Nations League against Iceland, and he's only scored once for England, but the point is he's in really good form. So you have to say that with Andorra to come first and a tougher game against Hungary next for England, Tammy Abraham will fancy his chances of getting some game time in, as will Ben Chilwell, and his has been a really strange story, hasn't it? Right in the middle of the group in front of us here, in the red top. There he is, look, behind Tyrone Mings and Kyle Walker. A really strange time for Ben Chilwell, part of the Euros squad, of course, but didn't play at all during Euro 2020. Had to say in the middle of that after getting close to Billy Gilmour in the Scotland squad. And Thomas Tuchel said the experience had left him mentally tired were the words that Tuchel used, and he was left out again by Southgate on Thursday, who said he's got to roll up his sleeves and grit his teeth and try and show his character. Well, clearly he's shown enough, because Southgate's called him back into this England squad for the injured Reece James. He got a start and he got that brilliant goal, didn't he, against Southampton at the weekend. Looked really sharp. And so you'd have to say that probably means Kyle Walker and Kieran Trippier are more likely to be used as straight right backs rather than Trippier, who's been used at left back on occasion, with Ben Chilwell back in the side. But a chance for Ben Chilwell, having got his chance back with Chelsea, to now restake a claim in this England team.
Yeah, Chilwell, Abraham back, as is Ward-Prowse. They're not the only ones for Kayo Tomori back in the squad. How likely is it that he'll replace the injured Harry Maguire?
Well, it's a difficult one about Fikayo Tomori. Again, he's right on the far right-hand side, next to Tammy Abraham, if Dan on our cameras can pan across and see him. His first England call-up since November 2019, when he's made his debut, and that was his only England appearance as well. But he's really impressed Gareth Southgate in his time at AC Milan this season. They're unbeaten, of course, won 5 and drawn 1 at the start of this season. And Southgate's talked about how he likes Tomori's aggressive defending. Really good speed, really good use of the ball that's improving all the time as well. And after breaking through at Chelsea and being held as one of the best centre-back prospects in the Premier League, his career, a little bit like Abraham, stuttered a little bit. He went on loan to AC Milan, then impressed further and has got his move. And he'll fancy his chances again, because you make that point about the defensive issues that Southgate has got. With no Harry Maguire, that calf injury that he's got, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says might keep him out for several weeks. Being one of the first names on the team sheet, as would John Stones. And John Stones is just to the left of Tomori in this group right in front of us. And a difficult time for John Stones as well. He's yet to play a minute for Manchester City this season, and yet he's been an integral part of this England squad. So Southgate has a decision to make there, doesn't he? Does he go with the tried and tested and keep Stones in the centre-back pairing, or does he play for somebody who's been playing more for their club, which would be Tomori, which would be Connor Cody, which would be Tyrone Mings at Aston Villa? But I think he's likely to go for Stones. He's played so well for England, and so it would be a big call if Southgate was to drop John Stones as well in the absence of Harry Maguire. But let's see if we get more clues over the next few days with that one, Mike.
Yeah, and what does he do at the other end of the pitch? Because Phil Foden is in magnificent form, as we all saw at the weekend. Raheem Sterling appears to be undroppable for England. Could they start together?
It'd be really exciting. I mean, Phil Foden and Raheem Sterling, two of the most exciting players in world football right now, and they're both in this England squad, both playing for Manchester City. And if we pan just to the right here, Dan, you can see Phil Foden right in front of us in this group. And his performance against Liverpool on Sunday was nothing short of outstanding. You heard Gary Neville and Martin Tyler absolutely cooing over his performance in commentary, didn't you? Alongside Mo Salah, they got joint man of the match, didn't they? He scored in the second half with a quite brilliant finish, and he seems to be this archetypal big game player, Phil Foden. He's never fazed by the opposition he comes up against. 3 goals, 2 assists in 4 games against Liverpool he's had, and he's adaptable as well. He played in this pretty fluid front line for Manchester City at the weekend. At times he was the central false number 9, if you like. At times he was wide left, swapping with Jack Grealish. And so Gareth Southgate could use him anywhere. So you wonder whether he could play on one wing with Raheem Sterling on the other. One thing I liked about Phil Foden that stood out for me in that game against Liverpool is just how confident Phil Foden is despite his years. Do you remember that moment where he was berating Kevin De Bruyne for not making a run in the first half? Extraordinary. That just shows how this young man has progressed with both England and Manchester City to be such a key figure and such an influential part of both teams' attacks. When you talk about Raheem Sterling, he's right over the far side, actually. Difficult for our cameraman to find him. He's in the bibs on the far side. He's next to Harry Kane. There he is. Look, instantly recognisable with his famous stance there. This exclusive interview that we've had with Raheem Sterling today has opened a lot of our eyes, hasn't it? You can see all of that, by the way, on skysports.com. But the fact that he's only 26 and he's won 70 England caps just tells you how important he is to this England squad and to Gareth Southgate. And he talks to us candidly, doesn't he, about that career. 18 goals and 23 assists for his country already, most of those in the second half of those 70 caps that he's played. He says he's feeling more confident in his own ability now than he ever has before. And he also said, which I think is significant, people keep coming up to him and saying congratulations for England making the final of the Euros in the summer. He says there's not much to congratulate us on as we didn't win it. So that speaks volumes of the expectation, I think, inside this England camp. Yes, they're delighted with getting to the final for the first time in half a century, first major final that England have been at, but they didn't win it. They want to go that one stage further. And it's difficult for Sterling because whilst he's such a key player for England, he hasn't been so much so of late for Manchester City. He's been on the bench for 5 of City's 7 Premier League matches this season, including those big games that I talked about Phil Foden being in. He was on the bench, Raheem Sterling, against Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester and Liverpool. So you have to say, for City, it looks like he's second choice to Phil Foden right now, and because Phil Foden is in such exceptional form. But yeah, wouldn't it be exciting if Gareth Southgate against Andorra, who, let's be honest, England expect to beat pretty comfortably out there, if Southgate went attacking and had Foden on one wing and Sterling on the other. Mike, it's fascinating to see them out here, and you're right, we didn't get the rain. There was a bit of a storm before this training session started. It's bound to come in the next 15 minutes, so why don't you come back to us and we'll have another chat in a short time.
Might well do that, just to see you soaking wet, Rob. Thank you very much.